morning, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting order for the Polk County Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, October 21st. All commissioners are present. Please join me, excuse me, in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item up is for comments for items not on the agenda. This is your public speaking portion. No takers? All right. Moving on, approval of the agenda.
Also moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, passed unanimously. Approval of minutes of October 14th.
I move approval. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, passed unanimously. Community corrections update. Miss Jody. Good morning.
We're winning
There's
today.
room for two if you want to. Just being shy.
I know. Okay, so good morning. For the record, my name is Jody Merritt. I am the Polk County Community Corrections Director, and I'm just here to give you some couple updates as far as what's happening with our department. Some good news, some bad news. We're going to start with some bad news. I don't think it's bad news. Well, it is. So I have a handout for you.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you.
I love my spreadsheet. So overall, the department is running well. We currently have 2 vacant positions, one of which we are recruiting for a PO position currently. What I have provided to you is a breakdown of budget. As you know, the state is going through budget reduction exercises, and that does affect our state funding. So the Department of Corrections initially was provided with an $18 million reduction ask. They did decide to take that. They took $1 million out of Community Corrections Act funding. $1 million out of Community Corrections, which was the criminal fines accounts. And so what I have for you on the spreadsheet is basically how that affects the department. So ultimately, that reduction, if they choose to go that route, we still don't have 100% as to what the reductions are going to be. But I did provide it to you guys in kind of a cumulative manner. So ultimately, that would be about a $15,000 reduction for the biennium for our department. Their next exercise was a 2.5% reduction. They did decide to take an additional 1.8 million out of that criminal fines account, which would be a $43,000 reduction. Cumulative of those 2 reductions would be just under $60,000. The additional piece on here and the 2.5% reduction is they are discussing reducing the DUI reimbursements by $5.9 million. That pot of money goes to the jail, to our sheriff's office. I did talk to the sheriff and ask, how does that affect you? Obviously, it's a reimbursement, so it's based off of how many individuals are in the jail that they're asking for a reimbursement. On average, they said they get about $50,000 to $60,000 a year, so that could be something that is impactful for them as well. For their 5% reduction exercise, they did identify that they would remove all treatment transition funds. Those are the funds that are provided to us by allocation. Our allocation is the 1.76%. So we receive $18,000 in the biennium. That is to assist with individuals who are released from prison, to provide support, whether it's housing, driver's license, incidentals. So they would eliminate that pot completely. Additionally, they would eliminate the family sentencing alternative program. We do not receive any of those funds. There's only 5 counties in the state that participate in that. But part of this reduction is they would remove that program in its entirety. And then the last, which of course is controversial, is that they are identifying that they would potentially reduce grant and aid by $4.1 million, which of course would trigger opt-out. So if the state determines to go through all of these funding reductions, overall cumulative for our department, it's just over 100,000 in the biennium. So I just wanted to provide that information to you as that's been presented to the governor's office as of Friday. My understanding is that they will have a couple weeks to review that, at which point they will let departments know what they would like them to do, and then we will get a final picture. But this is what was presented, so I wanted to let you guys know that that has been submitted.
Just for clarity, Jody, that 5% reduction in exercise, when you say cumulative, you're saying that everything above that at the 2.5% reduction exercise, et cetera,
Yes,
will be included in that reduction?
yes,
Okay.
that is how it's been articulated to us, is that it's everything above, and so they just keep adding on to it. So at this point, we do have cost savings because we do have 2 vacant positions. So there's some good and some bad news there. But I did want to provide that information to you because I know that that's a topic of concern currently. So any questions? Oh.
Yeah, yes. So you say they and you say state. So just for the record, because we're talking to our constituents here, who's they and who is the state? You did mention the governor's office, which is a very remote thing as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there had to be a legislative budget process that got us to this exercise model, right? So what was the expected total corrections change from the Legislative Budget Act? Do you know what that is? I mean, was there a mandate by the legislature, to make these changes? Or is it just a budget balancing exercise by the Legislative Finance Office?
So all of this is in response to the federal reductions that the state is anticipating receiving. A lot of that has to do with that big, beautiful bill, which with the new tax codes, the state of Oregon is attached to the federal tax code. So the reductions would impact the state. That reduction, my understanding, is approximately $444 million. And so the state is in need of balancing that budget with the anticipation of not receiving that tax revenue. With that decision, the governor's office has asked all state departments, including the Department of Corrections, which we receive money from through their community corrections program, that is the they, with the reductions that they have proposed, the Department of Corrections. So the state and the governor's office has asked for potential reductions in order to balance that, because they do not know what the revenue will actually be. They just know they have projections. Obviously, their economists have projections. So this is an exercise that we just don't know if it will come to fruition or not. Obviously, with the political situation and with the federal tax cuts and what's happening federally as well as locally in our state, we do anticipate some cuts. We just don't know what. So they're trying to provide us with whatever information they can. So I'm providing that information to you because obviously it will affect us here locally and our department and our operations.
Yeah, thank you for indulging. Again, I think it's important for folks to know where these alleged decisions are coming from. And again, just for the record, I want you to know that a couple of the terms you just used are triggers for me. Because they're very political, they're nonsense actually. And so I don't mind telling constituents that this is all a political word game. And this whole thing right here, again, an exercise you're going through to scare, frighten people into submission. So, I mean, there are so many things, so many nonsense things that this state can cut before this. So I'm just telling everybody in Polk County that cares to listen, this is what they choose first. Instead of some of the other nonsense we waste our property tax and personal tax dollars for, and then blame it on the big, beautiful bill. So anyway, I just want to make sure that we can get to a place where you can help us all understand who is they and who makes decisions. Because essentially all of these decisions are being done by no one that was elected, right? Right, and that's why I was asking about whether there was a legislative process for budget cuts or, yeah. Thank you.
My understanding is this is coming out of the governor's office at this point, the exercise. My understanding is also that they're not planning on having a special session in order to try and anticipate and balance. So I don't have any additional answers. All I have is what's provided to me.
Well, that's what they're supposed to do, just for everybody's understanding, is that's what they're supposed to do in the short session. That 35-day session is supposed to be for this kind of work. So I'll be shocked if they actually do it during that period. No, they're going to want to run another 1,000 bills in 35 days. So that's how they run.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Sorry.
Get in for those 35 days. Any other questions in regards to this?
Yeah, so reductions are coming. I mean, no matter how the budget projections land in reality, it's coming. And I'm guessing 5% is the minimum.
At this point, they've only asked for 5%.
Right.
They have made comments. They, as in the Department of Corrections, has made comments that they do anticipate additional 2.5% on top of the 5%, that they would go up to at least 10 to 15%
Yeah,
reduction exercises.
that's what I'm hearing as well. So are we still, in terms of caseload for our POs, like you said, we have one open position. Are we still at about 75 folks per?
We currently have 2 open positions, and I believe our caseloads are about 50 to 60, depending on the caseload.
Okay.
We're between 50 and 60. And as we've discussed previously, we were working on some workload adjustments to assist with that, especially with regards to a lot of the state mandated contact standards. And so we're managing as best we can with that. With 6 POs, we should have 8.
So those 2 open positions are both PO. Okay.
Yes, they're both probation officer positions. So those caseloads have been absorbed by the remaining 6. So.
Okay. I'm trying to read your eyes and looking at Lee, at current staff levels. Let's assume that there is another reduction that could potentially be made up for in not hiring one of those positions. I mean, how would that affect, in your opinion, your ability to supervise folks from misdemeanor to higher level offenses and higher risk folks? I mean, there's a lot of variables. You can't predict who's going to come to your office, but.
There are a lot of variables. Again, with the 6 POs we have the 2 vacant positions. We are hiring 1. We do anticipate a retirement occurring in March as well. So then we would be back to 2. However, with these types of reductions, I'm very hesitant in order to fill positions, not knowing what our budget will be. So I'm communicating that with our staff. Ultimately, we are prioritizing those in the community that need our attention. So we are continuing to supervise as we always have, with priority towards those that are causing concern within the community. So we're just making some adjustments. We do have those contact standards that are now in rule through the State Department of Corrections, through the Oregon Administrative Rule. So we're adhering to those, and we're still doing a pretty darn good job on that. But I have also told our officers that they need to prioritize those that are of concern in the community.
Yeah.
So, because there are times when people may be a medium risk individual or even a high risk individual, and they're working, they have housing, they've completed treatment, they're doing everything they're supposed to. We're just waiting for their time to run out on supervision. And then you have the one who's constant law enforcement contacts, using illicit substances, causing concern and havoc in the community. Which one do you want us to pay attention to? Because according to the state rules, we're supposed to pay attention to those equally at a minimum. And so we've talked to the officers, and of course, my understanding from direction here is that we need to prioritize those that are causing concern in the community and focus on them and surround them with resources and hold them accountable to their actions, to try and divert that from happening in the future. So we're making adjustments. It is a stress on our staff, on our officers, but we're doing the best we can in the landscape we have.
I think you're excelling. And, you know, the board really supports the work, sees the centrality of corrections in our public safety system. And we'll keep pushing through our associations and all that good stuff. Big budget reductions we're up against Department of Ed and other very large agencies, much larger than DOC, but
Yes.
the conversation continues. Really appreciate you making the adjustments with such professionalism and grace, both of you and your team.
We have an amazing team. So,
So I just like to let's talk about budgeting just for a minute. You get paid based on the number of parolees. So back in 2001, I think it was about $12 per parolee. And today, if we would have gained a 3% increase, cost of living or expenses, you'd be at $22 per parolee. And I know in the last legislation, we were in there and we were lobbying hard to get you that. And you're asking for $18, I think is what your group was for.
$18.18.
So it still wouldn't have mattered, but it would put a big dent and really helped. And instead, they gave us $15 to do this job. And the push today is to get people out of jail and let's reincarcerate them in public. But in order to keep those people in line, we need parole officers, and they got to have time per parolee to spend with them to make sure that they're successful. Yet the state continues to reduce funding. And here it is again. They didn't even meet your criteria at the last legislation. They're going to cut you again. It's just not acceptable. So you guys do a good job. I got very involved. I called around to check a lot of counties to find out how their parole officers work, what kind of requirements they had. And you have one of the finest, most in-depth follow-throughs on your parolees that we have in the state. So thank you.
Appreciate that. We work hard. We're a competitive bunch, and we have a great deal of value of community safety and that accountability here. So, so on a positive note, any other questions about the negative?
Yes, we'll pause them for now.
Yeah, I'm gonna get away from the hot buttons. Is that what you call them? Hot buttons?
Trigger
Trigger
word.
words. I apologize. I was way off. Trigger words.
No, hell no. Not trigger word.
Let's see what the triggers happen.
Another handout for you. So last week, community corrections, as well as the sheriff's office and all police departments here within the community
Oh, yeah.
participated in a national family violence sweep operation. So we had 10 agencies involved in this. This was a coordinated effort that a lot of counties and agencies nationwide participated in. And the primary focus was to serve family violence warrants that were outstanding. So here in Polk County, we all got together and coordinated. We pulled our warrants and we had an amazing event. We included all police departments. So we had Salem, Monmouth, and Independence, Dallas, Grand Ronde Tribal, and the Polk County Sheriff's Office, of course, Community Corrections. We also had representation from the District Attorney's Office, the Polk County Victims Assistance Office, as well as Polk County CARES Crisis Response. So a total of 10 agencies worked together in order to go out and try and serve some of these outstanding warrants. So what I provided to you was actually the countywide joint media release that the sheriff's office actually put out for us. So there's a picture on the back also. There's about 30 individuals there. There's about 10 that are not pictured because most of us we're helping to coordinate the picture instead of being in it, which I'm sure most of you understand that. But overall, we attempted 89 warrant attempts, served 6 warrants. We completed 38 home visits on our probationers and parolees. And then we also had 4 new charges that we found out of this event. So I wanted to just share this information. I know I'm sure you saw it on Facebook, but I did want to come and actually plug that because this was a coordinated effort that we all worked together on with the sheriff's office as well as all of our local police departments. It was extremely successful, not only in serving these warrants and getting us out into the community. We were out until approximately, I think we went home at 10. We went home at 10 Wednesday night. And then I think I finally had stats up to the national coordination at 10:30 or 11 that night. So this was something that we all worked together on, and super proud of all of the officers that were involved. The great thing also is that we were able to put our probation officers in a car with a police officer, and they were all over every inch of this county. They were there. So, and so we also wanted to be sure that not only that were we going after the warrants that we had on the books, but we were also got information from the district attorney's office as far as those that are pending cases that had conditional releases as well. And so any of those warrants that were out that we went and checked on, or other cases that they wanted us to kind of follow up on. So great event, something that was, again, great coordination and just shows the commitment that all law enforcement agencies have here in Polk County for the safety of our community and accountability of these offenders. So I just wanted to plug that with you guys again. And I do have Newman here. He loves this. He gets volunteered every time I'm involved. He gets volunteered in something. So he absolutely adores me.
Would you like to confirm or correct the record?
Yeah, so I had reached out to the sheriff and the district attorney and let them know that I was going to provide you guys an update on this event. Since they were all directly involved, all of us equally working on it, I wanted to be sure that they had an opportunity to be here and refute whatever I have to say, if that's the case. But so,
Thank you.
welcome. See, good
Great
news,
work. It's amazing collaboration.
right?
Okay, do we have any non-listed items?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Oh,
I see Austin way in the back, so.
I think we'll be in executive session.
Oh, thought we were doing that today. Okay. See, I don't have that on here normally, so I didn't even look that
We're a
far.
little out of phase.
Thank you. Okay. We will now go into executive session.
Pursuant to ORS 192-660 sub 2F to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection.